Demographics, the Achilles heel of the Arabian Gulf region. Today we discuss.
Welcome to Venezuela Insider, the only place in Venezuela for expats, digital nomads, entrepreneurs, investors, travelers, and related internationals. For more information, venezuelainsider.com.
On the past few decades, we have seen the development on the Gulf region, especially, of course, Dubai and Abu Dhabi with this beautiful, massive infrastructure, but also creating this friendly tax and legal jurisdiction in order to invest and create a very good business environment overall. But it's not just Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Of course, you have the rest of the Emirates. We also have been seeing similar projects on Qatar, beautiful infrastructure, but also very friendly tax and legal jurisdictions. Also investing on soft power. They already hosted the FIFA World Cup and it was a success to a certain degree. But still, Qatar is also making some noise on the worldwide sphere. We also, we can see similar projects on Bahrain, the Las Vegas of the Middle East, a small place, but actually quite beautiful and quite interesting to see. Also, you have Kuwait. Kuwait, there is actually been a pioneer on economic development and diversification on the Arabian Gulf region on the past decades. Also, we have Oman. Oman, that is a very interesting place. They have their own Vision 2040 plan, investing on infrastructure and tech and so on. And they want to mimic the model of the rest of the Gulf region. And of course, we have the big powerhouse of the Gulf region, Saudi Arabia, that is been actually had this fame of being the most harsh place when Sharia law was applied. But in the past few years, there have been some reforms on their society and geopolitics, and also they have their Saudi Vision 2030 plan, and they are investing heavily on infrastructure and, of course, creating the right environment for tourism, business, infrastructure, and so on and so on. So the Gulf region overall went from having this PR, this reputation of being one of the most conflict places on the world, and right now is a beacon of hope for the rest of society. However, the weakest point on the whole nations of the Gulf region is demographics. And the thing about it is you can do it all. You can build the infrastructure, create the legal structure and the tax structure, and also be more friendly and welcoming to international investors, even putting aside playing a second fiddle, the strict Muslim Sharia law that it was applied on these countries just a few decades ago, and it's been drastically being watered down in order to be more Western friendly, however, keeping their own culture and traditions. Now, you can do all of those things that I mentioned previously. The main issue is in order to have sustained growth, and actually that people in the short term want to visit your country, is people. Always is people. The key about the world is people, knowing how to deal with people, and that's why demographics are so damn important. Throughout history, when we have seen a lot of very significant economic growth and development and culture and so on, it's not just because nice infrastructure or nice taxes and a good legal framework, it's because people. The key in order to have growth is about the people that is in your country. And I'm not saying the Gulf region people are bad people. Actually, I think they are very good people and very solid there that also have a very good culture and also are people that are trustworthy. However, the issue is that in order to have sustained economic growth, the mathematics are very simple. Having people, young people, people who want to thrive, who want to work, that want to get together, get married, have 2, 3, 4, 5 children, then work hard, work their tails off, and improve every single day on their job or on their business in order to figure out how to provide the best standard of living for their family, in order to getting them to get access to good education, also pleasures, small pleasures in life, like having, of course, having good food on the table, living in a nice home, taking family vacations, and retirement, and playing golf, and so on and so on and so on. So you can paint the picture by yourself. In order to have that, you need a good demographics pyramid that has a lot of young people that are well educated. They are also motivated with opportunities on the future. And after that, they can follow a path of life regarding their culture, but also contributing to society. So there are two major issues regarding demographics on the Gulf region. The first one is that the Gulf region, most of the citizens, I'm talking the citizens, not the expats, on the Gulf region have very good standards of living, that those standards are provided by their governments, and very good for the local governments on the Gulf region that provide the best standard of living possible. And of course, that comes at expenses on fiscal spending, from the revenue, from the oil money. Remember, all of these countries are very rich on oil and natural gas. This particular situation on the Gulf region creates the wrong incentives in order to thrive on the long run. Because when you have this particular situation, what happens is you are less prone to see economic development, also entrepreneurship, creation, creativity, and so on and so on. Combined with a particular culture that doesn't incentivize other cultures in order to mix with the culture of their people. And by the way, I have a lot of respect for the Gulf nations. This is not an attack of them. However, the strategy should be looking a way to integrate the expat community that is very big on those nations. On most nations on the Gulf is over 50% of the population on such places are expats and internationals. The other issue that you have is with the expats and internationals is that you create the incentives in order to make those people come to your country and work very hard, usually well compensated. However, you don't have the sufficient incentives in order to stay long term, in order to buy a house and pay the mortgage, and after that invest on their country that for a while is their country. But then most of them know they are visitors and not permanent residents, inhabitants. They are going to contribute long term with those nations. So what you want, if you want to keep these people in order to create economic growth, sustainable economic growth long term, is that you want to create the incentives, the legal structure, in order to keep those people willingly, of course, not the kafala that deserves a video of its own, is those people, they need to come and stay decades, live the rest of their lives on their country, and build homes and pay mortgages, and of course, live their life over there, and at the end, retire on those places, on a beautiful home they built throughout their entire life, and see their children, their sons, and their grandsons growing very happy on those places. But on most cases, what happens is these people just make a good money being an expat or something, or they just have a business just for a couple of years, and they return to their home countries, or they go to a third country, and they do the long-lasting investing over there. So at the end, the Gulf nations don't get to reap the benefits on the long run. So you can build all these beautiful skyscrapers and beautiful residences and houses by the beach, and create an artificial beach, an artificial ski resort, and so on and so on, and have all the Formula One races. But you need to retain people long term, because at the end, economics, with all the math and all the finance and so on, is about people taking decisions. And people are going to visit a place and going to stay on a place when other people are also motivated to stay on that place, of course. And also, a major issue that the Gulf region has to take care of is the gender imbalance that you have on those nations. When you see the demographics and the demographic pyramid of each nation of the Gulf region, you see this big blue, dark blue weight, that is nothing more than male surpluses. You cannot have a sustainable society with huge male surpluses. Now, it's very tricky in order to attack more females, in order to eliminate that male surplus, because the incentives in order to stay long term there for a while, working or doing something on this nation, is you have to be a high skilled labor, in some cases not high skilled. Most of the high skilled labor force are male, because those are the ones that are more motivated in order to have, and of course, have a high-end career and high-end job and being a successful entrepreneur. I'm not saying females are not capable of that, because actually I know a bunch of them. However, on proportion, they're a tiny minority, 20% or some, and I'm being generous, by the way. However, you're not going to fill those quotas just with females. So you need to create mechanisms in order to also increase the female population on those nations, because if you are not able to create those conditions, you are not going to create sustainable growth on long term. Eventually, they're going to visit in Dubai and Abu Dhabi and that kind of places and take the picture and spend a week or two or something like that. And after that, they're going to leave. You need to create the structure, the demographic structure, in order to retain willingly the people. And actually, many people want to do so. However, some structures, some incentives has to be created first.
Thank you for watching Venezuela Insider. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on social media. If you want to work with us, VenezuelaInsider.com. Thanks again, and have a nice day.